Okay, welcome. So, what we're going to do today, if you didn't see the YouTube video that went out on my channel earlier, I'm going to review the games from yesterday. So this is the first scrim, but we're going to with, actually I'll just message these around, with Savour from Mobatrainer. So the idea here is that I'm going to go through, look at the things that I want to talk about, look at the things that I want to learn with the guys, and we'll see if we can create puzzles from them or if we're just going to do them in like VOD format. So I'm just going to cool now and we'll get started. We have all 5 scrims. Yo.
Yo.
Okay, let me screen share. That should be good, right?
Yep.
Right, I just need to get Discord out of the way to get to my notes. Yeah, so like I was just explaining, I think that there's a bunch of mistakes here that are really like not even worth going into. There's a bunch that are a bit strange, but we'll also be just on the lookout for ones that we can make into puzzles, basically. So I haven't really planned exactly how I'm going to do it, but I'll just do it like I would normally, and then it'd be great to just get your thoughts on it as we kind of go through.
Let's do it.
I guess. Okay.
What patch is this?
This is live patch, so 25.6.
Okay.
And so our second scrim set together against the Mako. There's a bunch of stuff in draft which I'm already doing with the guys because I'm not happy with how we're drafting at the moment at all. And this is where Noway gets absolutely chunked to try and get this ward down. So this is a problem that he has at the moment, or will always have with like new players, is like when Jankos says the ward, it's a bit weird to say like, no. You have to get used to that, you know? Because this is doomed.
That's a tough lane now.
And let me just remember this game, if there's stuff from it. So this one, enemy comes and dives our bot lane, and I think it's never going to be all that good. I would like to not lose cleanse there. But maybe it's fine.
A little too aggressive on Leon level 2.
Yeah, I think it's just up until 2, it's okay to be split because they don't need to both go in and invade. Because we're not actually fighting in the invade, we're just getting vision. But then you're right, like on the 2, like it's just too far forward. So that costs cleanse. And mid lane is a disaster. We were talking already about we can crash mid and go help, crash bot, sorry, and go and help mid. It wasn't actually in that, we didn't actually do it though.
I think it, from my perspective, it looked a little risky to leave the wave like that.
Yeah.
Because the range were up.
Yeah. But how fast do we crash this? Because if the goal is, right, we have bot prio. We fucked up mid because of the ward. Unfortunate. Okay, maybe he didn't need to push out. Yeah, I didn't write down when they said. But already it's not in a great spot. So like, if we did it now, for example, and just ran to mid, maybe you don't have time.
But is the goal then to save Syndra's TP? Because it seems like Syndra will need to base.
Yeah, maybe she just bases and TPs, yeah. Yeah, she has to base. It was just a push out for the base, that's all. Because this early, like, if you... Obviously, she can't base on that wave, but, like, this early, because TP takes so long, right? She's going to lose minions for basing without help.
This is a cannon.
Yeah, maybe she can just TP. Yeah, so how many did we lose? Just 1. Okay, that's fine. Yeah. So we lost our flash. Cleanse, kind of silly situation. Get the ward down. Now we lose our flash on this massive wave. In the game, Nihat said that they're diveable here, but it looks really hard to me.
It is hard.
Yeah, like they're both full HP. There's Guardian, there's Exhaust.
I think it's a risky attempt by opponents.
Yeah. And it goes horribly.
I think the exhaust is very important here. If they didn't have exhaust,
Yeah, exhaust on Maokai as well, I think is a really good shout. Rather than on like Samira or something, because Samira can cleanse it. And Maokai's got double buffs, so I mean, that's just a tragedy already.
Yep.
Wait, sorry, my mute button's not working, so occasionally I might talk to the chat. Apologies if someone's asked a question. There's not going to be scrims today, and I'm going to be reviewing Emir Masters tomorrow, or watch partying Emir Masters. Don't know why my mute button's not working, but... Okay. So we crash and base. Maybe it's now that we're talking about push out and stuff. Didn't write it down.
But wave is a little awkward.
Yeah. Don't know why I remember it, but I didn't write it down. And then here was the point that we discussed in the game, this next one that's going to come up, which is that when both people are super low, you have to match base because we wanted to play on either Grubs or Dragon. So because Syndra stays and takes this wave, but we already discussed this, so that would be a great little one. Like, do you stay and take the wave or not?
Yep.
Because objectives coming up, so you don't.
I can see it. That could be a puzzle indeed.
If there's no objectives, I think you can greed for this wave, but... Hi, Green Boy. No, sorry, YouTube chat's not muted. I just didn't see it. I was trying to mute my mic so that Savour doesn't have to keep hearing me talk to someone else, which is always weird. Okay, so because of that, we lost the dragon because Corky's here first, so Corky gets mid push, and then even though he chunks, yeah.
But was there no way to, like, yeah, you give dragon, but you would be getting Grubs instead with bot prio with this?
Yeah, we could have swapped instead for Grubs. You mean we crash this wave in bot and swap?
Could be swap, but could also be playing on the next wave. Not on like on this one. Syndra is based. Syndra will not be on time on this wave that is coming right now on mid lane.
Yeah,
but you could be playing on the next spawning wave into maybe rotation into mid, maybe swap indeed. Like there would be different options.
Yeah. You mean we push this bot wave more aggressively, like the next one? We don't move across with Nash. We push this next wave more aggressively as 2v2, and then we move across to do something in mid, or
not on this wave. I think on the next one. On this one, you can on that one push, but on this one maybe contest bot because you do see Maokai and Sejuani is bot side. But your guys on bot lane played it really well, and Samira was very chunked, so there is another opportunity, maybe.
I think still the best one is just recalling at the right time.
Yeah, that is for sure.
So for now, I'll leave it like that. Like we won't do because we already spoke about that one. So like I said, we won't. Well, ones that we didn't get to, the 12:31 might. There's just some timers I don't think we reach in the actual game. Let's look at this then. So Nash is spacing. Oh, he cancels his space. I mean, this is just a massive waste of time, and that means the Grubs is way more. Does he actually
have something in mind?
Nope. Nope. I mean, this just, you need to base, right?
Yeah.
For me, you just finish the space, you can come out, and that way actually get grubs cleanly, rather than what happens is we die for them. We die on top side.
The wave on bot lane is not so good. I think the guys wanted to fix it, but the problem was probably earlier.
But if one of them's basing anyway, like...
Yeah, for sure. Like, it would be better if he already based. Maybe they could have done something earlier.
And then this comes...
Like, arguably, that wave where they chase Samira should have been pushed immediately, and then they have a neutral wave still.
Yeah. It's one of those situations where he's going for the kill here, right? So he wanted... Innaxe wanted Nash to flash, but you obviously just get a flash trade from Samira, but I don't even think it's worth it. I don't think she ever dies there. But that's just a miscalculation, like, in the moment. And so for me, it'll be less important than some of the other more glaring mistakes that we'll make.
Okay.
Yeah, so this could be one. Let me write it down. Because basically, if this kind of thing, I already am thinking only if this happens multiple times. If it happens like multiple times, then for sure it'll be something to look at. If there's multiple times where he's not in base, because now, like, we're just really late. We should be ahead, and we're really late. And Leona goes bot, sure. So it's okay. Like, do we need to be coming back bot, even?
Probably on the next wave on bot lane, not
Yeah.
on this one.
It's only on the one where we might be dove, though. Maybe it's okay. So we get grubs, but they get a top gank. And like you say, like, the whole thing, I think, is already a bit scuffed from the sequence before with the dragon and stuff like that, but it's the best we can do, I think. What's the next thing that's going to happen? And how are we so far behind in XP? We're not that far behind. We just are behind. Not so far behind. Okay. Now we've got 6. Okay, good.
Is this the sequence where Varus could be opening from mid, since bot wave is neutral?
Yeah. Yeah, we could go to mid. And take over from Syndra, and Syndra goes to side, you mean?
No. I don't need to make a full swap, but rather the bot side area will likely be contested from base, since both bot lanes based. So my idea there would be that Varus and Rakan can open next to mid lane, maybe from the right side, and then contest the wave together, contest the vision together, and then rotate to bot.
Yeah, I think that works. Also, as it happens, there ends up being a fight around mid, and you'd be ready for it. Because these fights actually do happen more often, not more often than not, but more often than you'd think, right? Because it's classic, like, both supports have a window to move. We can then... Why is Corky E just permanently on, or is... That's really annoying. I want to look back towards mid, but I can't. Yeah, so from coming out base here, that would be another one. Yeah, I think it might be there the whole game. That's going to be... I need to see him do it and then turn it off again. That sometimes fixes it. Nope, didn't fix it.
You can also turn off the sound. Or
Yeah,
the sound of
true.
SFX.
True. Okay. And do we lose anything if Samira just legs it straight back to bot lane? We'll still be there in time to do it. Like, we'd lose prio on the wave, but it's okay because we would get prio on mid wave for sure anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you'd open through mid. You'd be at this fight, okay, but even if there's not a fight here, you'd be able to contest this area. This would be able to be denied, and we'd lose push in bot, but that's fine because we'd be bot lane to collect it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, good. And now it's kind of wonky anyway because we don't even get, like, we lose the cannon anyway because we come bot lane, start like pushing it as if I turn sound effects back on, are they going to be broken again? Yeah, okay. Well, I'll just avoid mid lane because it is a bit weird hearing all the characters like go ha without. Okay. Yeah, because this whole thing for me becomes because we're disjointed, like we're pushed out and Leon has inside track, whereas if we went together, we'd lose the push, but it's like neutral and we just get it back afterwards. And you'd get it in time for the next dragon anyway.
Yeah. Your boys on bot lane desynced a little bit there.
Yeah. That was a very common thread throughout the scrim, but they went straight into a VOD review afterwards together.
Nice.
Can't remember why this one goes so badly. That was because we use our CC before Samira goes.
Generally a little complicated when your Varus doesn't have summoners. I think he gets popped more often than not.
Yeah. I think this is always quite risky. But I think if Rakan just saves W for Samira, like I don't know what that W buys, like now W as they jump in to hit them both, or now. Is better.
Arguably, Samira would probably get the kill since she has flash.
Yeah, she'd probably get killed anyway. But I think just this whole thing is not that big a deal. Like, just don't go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Especially in such a snowbally lane. Like if Samira gets double kill here, for example, while you're playing for this gank, it's like so different. Whereas if no one dies, the lane is still always going to be good for us.
Mm-hmm. I think Rakan baiting the E is probably fine since he has Mercs. He will not get popped immediately. Varus baiting is a little too hard.
Too much.
And also they could get Prio and just establish control in the river instead.
Yeah, exactly. Just push across and get control here. Then come back, play for the next wave. Play for the dragon. So we lose this dragon as well because of that silly bot gank. Oh, this is a weird dragon fight as well. Pushing through this way. I'll just show it to you on full. Dash is forward. Malkout goes down. Varus is on this side. Samira W is down. Got no Rakan W. I think if we're going to fight this, by the way, like we were very confused about whether we're fighting this or not. But if we're going to fight this, I think Rakan should even come this way.
Good, indeed.
Then we just get cleaned up on the backside. Okay, so this situation could be very useful in terms of like puzzle, but I'm trying to work out exactly how. So again, the thing for me here is like bringing it back to what our goal is at the moment. So I wouldn't want to have a puzzle of kind of how should we play the fight. In a way, the puzzle is still about that. It's about how we should play the fight. But it's about trying to get on the same page with how we see fights like this, rather than necessarily saying like this is right or this is wrong. So we have no sums on. We do not care anywhere near enough about summoners on this team yet as well. That's a separate point. We're down a lot of flashes. Malka has no flash, Leona has no flash, but both their carries do, whereas Varus doesn't have anything. Luckily, this isn't it. But I'm trying to think of a way, like, I want to know how they're all seeing this fight. Is this something where we do it in puzzles? Is this? I mean, we did have a discussion about this. What do you think?
The way I see it as a pattern is that how do you approach the dragon fight? And in this particular case, blue team has massive disadvantage because because Varus will be split off from his team, and indeed, like the summoner disadvantage doesn't help. If we check the power spikes, I mean that one looks decent, but Maokai. Yeah, that one looks decent. But Syndra is also half health, and Maokai has ult, and this is like playing playing against Maokai. Oh yeah, he did okay. I think the main point then is just Varus is split up from the team, but then enemy team actually gives a angle to collapse on them.
Like at this moment, I think if we're fighting, we should fight.
Yeah, I think this
is where we just throw all. Like, because also, did Leona? Oh no, she didn't use Aftershock. Okay. Because now we're sort of waiting. Yeah, of course we're waiting on Rakan W, but
I definitely agree with a question. Like, if we could make a puzzle here and ask Rakan to commit, there could also be a question for Syndra whether she actually sees the fight, because Syndra is so far back right now that she has harder time committing.
Yeah,
I think it was because Noway wasn't 100% sure.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing for me, is that we're all like unsure, and it's because no one. We've been very used to having Treats, who is very clear with how he sees the game, and he's like, I'm doing it anyway. Like, so either I'm just dying because you'll all leave me, or you'll come with me, and so it makes it really easy to just be like, okay, right, we're just going. So like we'll just throw out some abilities, but yeah, like Noway's clicking already back to mid-wave.
I think with that in mind, like if Noway was a little bit closer, then it would be easier for Rakan and Sejuani to pull the trigger as well, because he's not. I'm not like, it's hard to guarantee that this fight will go great.
And if we're playing fully for the fight, I think actually like this direction from Rakan when he has flash and exhaust up is just Giga Smurf, and like maybe we only kill these two because the other two flash away, but like if we're playing for this fight, we have no Varus ult as well. I think the cooldowns here is not very good. I'm just thinking through it. I think maybe I'd actually rather, now I'm saying all this, I'd rather just say like, okay, we fucked up Dragon when we died here. Because there are definitely ways to play this fight, but I would rather we didn't.
Yeah, it's to find, like, we just found a moment in the fight where the possible engage could be successful, but there were so many moments where an engage wouldn't be successful as well.
Yeah, and there's probably almost certainly ways that engage would have been much better for them. Like this Hex Flash, for example, if this hits onto Syndra or even onto Sedge, I think it's bad, isn't it? Like if this hits Sedge, I think it's also bad even.
Yep.
Because the Maokai follows up, and then I think you just get chain CC'd. Because you've got no flash as well.
Yeah, Sejuani would lose a lot of health.
Yeah. Okay,
So we could say earlier that we shouldn't be trying to do this dragon and instead play for something else. So what is something else?
The thing for this though, I would say that I would want this to be a discussion. Because for me, what I want is I want us to come to the conclusions of, okay, most important thing is cooldowns and summoners as to whether we like assess fight. Sorry, wait, do both teams even need dragon? Does this happen to be the right decision for both teams in the first place? Yeah, that's that. Sorry, I was answering in the chat, but that's what we're discussing now. So the thing for me is that once we die here and we mess up and we die, I think that costs us the dragon. I also think like here, can we just open through mid as well? Like mid's half HP, but you can't go bot actually. The thing is, why I'm saying it's the discussion is because I want us to discuss and decide that the most important thing for team fights is XYZ, and then we can say, okay, look, because we don't have Varus Sums, Varus Ult, Sedge Flash, that's why we shouldn't fight this. But because we haven't had that discussion, then I would be less like after we've had that discussion, then we can say, okay, look, we can't fight this. Can we? Well, the question could be like, can we fight this dragon? And the answer is no, because we've said we need to have summoners, we need to have spells, because like they've got all ults. We don't have.
We could make it a 3-step puzzle. One question: how do we bait? How do we set up the gank on bot when Sejuani was covering and Varus got killed? The other one is, do we contest dragon? The third question in the sequence is, how do we contest dragon? So when the guys are already in the river and Maokai used ult, for example, we could take that moment.
Yeah. Okay. So what would your answers be then for this one, for example? Because for me, it's like it's kind of like don't in.
I mean, it's the levels of baiting or the fight. Let's say Rakan step up, Varus step up, don't step up, get vision in the river.
Okay. And for me, either Rakan step up or go in river. I would say go in river is best. Then Rakan step up. Then Varus step up. But I think I'm fine having either of them.
Just opponents are contesting. I have exact same puzzle, I think, uploaded in the library, where Reckless is playing Alistar. Almost exact same thing is happening, and instead of doing anything in lane with this prio, he is rotating and getting vision. Opponents then face check Tribush and die. Because the enemy bottom is locked out from the dragon contest right now. In a way.
Like he can't take this pink ward, honestly, can he?
Yeah, exactly. But because Rakan and Varus are positioning in a way that like it will take them a longer time to rotate now. Maokai can actually walk in and take the pink. But if they were rotating right now already, then
yeah, I mean, if they're rotating now, I mean, we don't have ult, right? But if they're rotating now, we can at least posture aggressively to like push him away. And I think as Sedge comes up this way, and Maokai probably if Varus and Rakan are already here, then he doesn't take this. So we get to hold this pink for the dragon that's coming up in 30 seconds, which I think is a big deal. Also, we don't just die for free. Quite a big deal. Okay, yeah, so I'm happy with that. So Rakan bait, Varus bait, just run to river to control river for dragon. And also, again, the other thing that I really don't like, and I want us to get better at, we were only starting to get better at it near the end as well. I never want to throw this ult out before dragon. Like we got a 95-second cooldown ultimate that we're using 30 seconds before an objective. I would just like, I don't want I want us to have it for the fight. So that's another one as well. The problem with having consistent ideas, like how long before dragon we should rotate, is because it's never the same. And if you take players of this level and try and make it too strict like that, you end up missing out on a huge amount of advantages. So it depends on the level of the team you're working with. I think if you're working with like a newer team, you can say that, and you can say like, okay, right, you know, a minute 30 we all base, and then a minute before we push, and then we go and get vision, and then we go and push the next waves, and then we do it, all those kind of things. But nowadays I think you have to be able to play faster and still cleanly. But we can definitely like not have, I think also actually genuine, another positive in the answers for going here is just like we keep all our cooldowns.
Mm-hmm. We can
yeah, like our cooldowns are so rarely matched up in this game, I think.
Also, Rakan had 2 wards still, like the whole whole area could be controlled.
Okay, so that's question 1.
Transition prior into mid.
Yeah. Question 2, with this wave gone, like, can Varus just go mid? Can that even be?
Yeah, that could be an option. Like if the goal is to contest this area next to mid lane, then Varus should be opening through mid.
Because Jankos already took the wave bot. Or someone's going to have to go back bot quite quickly, I guess. So Varus can go here, actually, maybe. It's not the worst, is what I'm saying. It's okay. If we're trying to play for this dragon, but we're already not trying to play for this dragon. Again, this is like new team, no structure problems. Because it's already too late for dragon for me.
Yeah, probably dropping a wave and a plate for better positioning through mid lane will not be the best choice for Varus. So the dragon would still be contested even if he positions through mid.
Yeah, so I don't know if we need to make that another question, especially if we're sharing it with everybody, because that one's more for Innaxe specifically. I guess this first part was just for bot lane too. Then the next one was, I guess now, like, are we contesting this dragon? And then if we're not contesting dragon and we want to play for Grubs, then it does feel bad to have Varus in this bot lane with no subs.
Indeed.
Where would you have the are we contesting that moment, or
I think the moment
this moment?
I think this is already decent. To be honest, the alternative to contest, it's more that what is the alternative to contesting right now?
Oh, I hate stupid. Catching the next mid-wave high. Like we're either here to give ourselves as much time as possible on the other side of the map, or we can sort of source contest this, I guess. The other thing to be doing would be to be getting Syndra to base. That's the other thing productive we could do at the time. But I think that is already smoother if when we came out of here we were just coming to mid. Because already now, like if Syndra just bases and Varus catches this wave and we give up the dragon, and but then it all starts to get really complicated, I think, if you're thinking like someone needs to go bot lane. But even with the lane assignment that we have, if we're not contesting this, we should be catching mid wave really high and then giving ourselves as much time as possible. And we can have like Sedge and Rakan like soft contest this to buy ourselves more time.
It feels like the best in my mind, like analyzing, if Sejuani just cleared into top into Grubs and Syndra based on this wave, either after the mid wave or maybe even before, then
like now
the team could right now basically she's already basing, right? Syndra, I mean.
Yeah, so we can have the question about if we're contesting now.
Yeah.
Because Syndra should clear this and base. We should push this wave hard and then probably try and come across, assuming we keep this connect ward, where we can actually just walk through here. And then we just play the next mid wave with everyone on like having all our resources and play towards top side. And finally we'd have maybe not, but we might have all our ults. Might actually have all our ults and everyone ready for a fight that's happening, which I don't think we got this game.
I think next wave, if Syndra based now,
so Syndra would be in base,
would be hard to contest.
Yeah, we wouldn't be on time for the next wave, but we would be coming out with more resources. Enemy, yeah, exactly. we'd
So
get the one where he was going to base.
So it doesn't really matter if we are not contesting this exact wave that's on mid lane. We could be contesting the wave after, and Syndra would be first. And because Syndra is first, the team could contest Grubs easier.
Yeah. Wait, sorry, I had a couple of questions from before. How do you compare using cooldowns to create a man advantage before the objective versus saving them on the fight? If the cooldown's not going to be up for the objective, I think that we don't use it. So, for example, you have like a bunch of windows. Like, so if the objective is here, like this is the dragon, for example, then obviously it depends on which dragon and stuff like that. But you've got like from the minute beforehand, if your ult's not going to come back up, I would rather don't use anything. Like 20 seconds before, sure, if you're going to get a kill, then that's okay. Although, to be honest, not always. There's a lot of situations where we use one team uses a bunch of ults for kills, and then this is like tick window where you can use cooldowns. And then here, I really like using cooldowns because if we use cooldowns to get summoners, then it's really good. So if we play Xerath a bunch with Noway, and a really useful thing to do with Xerath, especially in the mid and late stages of the game, is just ult people. Like 2 minutes before an objective, just ult. Because when you're at the level where your ult can force flash already, then you just trade ult for flash, and then the ult's back, but the flash isn't. So that kind of thing I think is really important. Sorry, the other question. Obviously, if you want to jump in, by the way, in any of these questions, answer them as well. What are the value trade-offs being made here? I think it's useful for players to know how much gold the dragon is worth compared to what they could get on the rest of the map. For me, I don't think it's particularly worth to like calculate the current gold value of this dragon and stuff like that. Because for me, it's less about, is it more gold efficient to do this or to do something else? It's more, can we do this? If we can play this fight, I think this fight is better, but we can't, and so we should do something else. What do you reckon? How do you think about these kind of situations?
Yeah, I agree with you. But I also I like to think what are the alternatives, and right now the alternatives are quite nice. Like you have first base on mid, enemy mid still has to base. There is still an objective spawning on the top side, and
it would be 6 Grubs as well.
Yeah, it would be 6 Grubs, and the opponents are basically ruining their tempo right now on Dragon to get and give you a 6 Grubs in return. So
sorry, no, finish.
So it's just benefits all around, but it was hard. It's hard to see this in the game and make the decision.
Okay, so that would be the second question, and then the third question is like, how do we play the fight? Version. So assuming we're fighting this, which already I think if we just said that, it would change how everyone played. Because I think Nash and Noway especially wouldn't play like this if we knew we're fighting this. But from this moment, if we're fighting this, how do we fight it? That'd be another one. So like instant hard engage would be an option. Play as slow as possible onto first target would probably be, I think, the best thing that we can do. Like you throw your Sedge ult out here and don't queue forwards, even if you have it. You don't have it anyway.
It's a bit worrying to engage, and now I think Syndra doesn't have her ability, Varus has no ability, and if you don't have enough... Yeah, neither does Rakan. So it has to be in 7 seconds. So in 7 seconds...
They're kind of
but
out.
right now, if we already know now that we are looking for engage, then like maybe even 2 seconds earlier, we could ask how do we play out this fight when Rakan actually had a flank opportunity.
Yeah.
When Rakan...
okay, so the freeze frame would be got here kind of thing. And as long as if we can click on each person one by one to make sure we see all the cooldowns, that would be really useful. Because it's 5 seconds on key one here, 5 seconds on this one, 7 seconds on the queue, nothing up from Varus. Okay, good. And at each stage, this is the thing I mentioned before, but this is the thing that's really nice about puzzles, because at each stage, you could just look at what happens here and be like, okay, like we change this and then we don't need to talk about the rest of it. But like shit happens in games, you make mistakes. So you need to know what you would do after this mistake. What do we do? And then after this mistake, what do we do?
So this whole sequence, I think, I really like it personally.
Okay,
And,
good. Yeah, I like it too. Should we add a question about where we go from base or not?
if you want, we can. Yeah.
Just a short question, like where should you go from base? And I think here we just have both as okay options.
Mhm.
I think mid is I would say probably slightly better because then Syndra can base and Syndra can be the one going to bot if necessary.
But would you like Syndra to go bot?
No, I was just thinking that as I said it.
I would argue that Varus going bot
We
is
just
the best
dropped the
option
wave.
here.
Okay.
Because the alternative is that he gets a better position in the fight, but is the fight worth losing a cannon wave and possibly a plate?
No, it's not. Okay, yeah, I like that. Let's leave it then, because it's just one person, and if already his decision is okay, then it's all right. Yeah, the reason you brought up objective values is taking fights is highly subjective for each player. Yeah, I think it's true that taking fights can be subjective, and that's why I think it's so important to say, okay, to put in rules like we don't have cooldowns, we don't have summoners, we don't take this fight. And now it's not subjective anymore. When we're at a massive cooldown disadvantage, we don't take the fight. And I think that's useful. And that then also answers Fragley's point. Because, yeah, I think this fight is rough. Okay, good. So that'll be a good puzzle from this.
I'll make one.
Awesome. Okay.
After our review.
This review is going to take a while. We don't have to go through all the games. They get progressively more messy, as always, in scrims. So if we can just have a few good examples, it'll be fun. Mm-hmm. Okay, the next one that I had written down. Wait, I'll write down puzzle here. We made it into a puzzle. We do the trading here. It was a bit weird. Okay, so we do manage to get some grubs. Wait, okay, so let's look to from after that fight. Okay, we all die as well, but the puzzle creation pipeline. Okay, so I mean, obviously, well, we ruined Samira's tempo. I mean, here I would base and join the run with the team, maybe, or we play this plate instead, because we end up just super disconnected again. We get one plate, we use Varusol again. We're getting pushed 1v1, but he has TP. Maybe it's fine. Because we're not actually, like, after the team fight, it's not like we're out on the map first, is it? Slightly. I already talked with Tamas about this lane, but now Jace is basing, so we're trying to cheese, I think, just like one grub or however many we can get. I think I remember being the call. Yeah, so we get one and we get out. Yeah, I just don't. It's just so disconnected. Like,
and how did they come out of base? Could you show that?
Yeah, sure.
I blinked.
How did we come out of base, or how did they come out of base?
Yeah, how we came out of base after the fight.
So Rakan goes to mid. We're all still.
Is there a reason why Varus stayed on bot lane?
Well, that's what I was asking. I think he based here instead. So he stops Samira base, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
So we just murdered Samira's tempo. Now we clear this. Now we one-shot this wave, and then we play Grubs, and they can't stop us. I think we get all of them, don't we?
I think you're late to play on Grubs because
Maybe.
opponents are already coming out of base. But you could have a cross map into bot, for example, or at the very least, or maybe you have to match. I'm not 100% sure if whoever goes top gets Dolph, but maybe.
Yeah, you'd be equal time to Samira, right? Pretty much, like, because you'd already be base. or basing. I think you'd...
Would be a bit later.
Yeah, oh yeah, I went back way too far.
No, as in Varus would be
Yeah.
a bit later because he still stays to push.
Yeah, it stays to push the wave. But if you like start channeling base now, you'd be a little later. But you'd be pretty much matching, is my point.
But Rumble is also coming out of base first.
Rumble's coming out base first, yeah.
And does Corki have TP and Syndra not?
Yes.
Is that?
So maybe the fight just fucks our grubs anyway.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Tragedy. And then we don't... Since you don't have TP advantage, the enemy should have priority objectives. We don't... Just because you have TP advantage doesn't mean you necessarily have priority on objectives, because especially now as it takes a lot longer, it depends on more the tempo of the map. Like you can cheat tempo, of course, with TP. Like it takes less time to get from one side to the other. But if like we're crashing a wave here and we could have been a few seconds faster, it wouldn't matter that they had TP. We would be out faster.
If I'm not mistaken, enemy team also got their ultimates faster than your guys. So you would be fighting on this objective without the cooldowns.
Could be. Varus uses his ult to push the wave again. So we'd have the Varus ult. They did use their ults first around the objective before they used like Malka ult right at the beginning, right? I would still prefer to have Varus. Maybe it's okay. Because he does win 1v1 into Corki, and he just forced Corki base again. Now Varus bases. And we're coming to just try and steal one with the smite. But we don't get it.
To be honest, it would be really good if your team moved to mid as soon as the wave was there, and then and then rotated straight into bot and played on the next wave.
Yeah, it's the same as the dragon. Like, it's okay, I think, for people to go to objectives. Like, for example, from the situation that we're making a puzzle, if Syndra's in base, I actually don't mind Rakan and Sejuani being like quite aggressive here and just stalling them as much as possible and like soft contesting, because it just generates us more tempo, because we think the enemy thinks, oh, they might be trying to fight, assuming Syndra based out of vision. But here it's the same again. Like the reason for doing this is because we want to try and smite one away, because we took one like cleanly. But already, I think for me, the focus should be on the next mid wave, and this should be like the secondary focus, you know. So Jankos can walk up here, and sure, you can try and smite one of these away, but the whole goal should always be so that we can be first onto mid wave to make the next play. Because the fact that we are not first on mid wave ends up, and like Rumble can just step up and queue it, gives us way less time to do anything. Although there's not anything that we particularly want to... I guess we play for bot tower in the quest map.
But if you roll back, could you roll back to the moment when Jankos makes a decision to smite another one? I was wondering that whether your team could go into bot and play with Varus. Let's say Varus doesn't push this wave too fast, and your team can actually play with it. Because Jankos chose to smite, but he could also choose to cross map into bot here.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter like how. So in this stage, we just play on the next bot wave instead.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
If the goal is to sneak away one grab, it's so good.
It's. I think it's an insane call. I think it's really good. But my point is that I'm trying to see how you see this like in the game, if that makes sense. Because at this stage, we're thinking we take one grub away while they're coming, one or two maybe, and when they commit loads of resources, we now can say, I think if we're going up here, the best version is if they contest terribly for some reason and we get more grubs. Maybe. If like, I'm sorry, I'm just kind of thinking it through in my head. Because basically what I'm thinking is like, yeah, if you can actually be making the call, we're going to take one, and then when they contest the rest, we're going to cross map into bot lane because we chunked out Corki. I think that's really, really good. But I'm trying to think about how you would. So at this stage, maybe.
Yeah, once you see Leona, once you see
Leona. Leona and Samira are top side. We don't have a wave in mid anymore, but we can play this wave bot slower. Yeah. So at this stage, I think you can see it.
Mm-hmm. Especially when you see Maokai. Like you still have time to make it even now when you see Maokai.
Mm. And the waves are both dead in mid so quickly that we could just still run that way. You can just run towards bot.
Ideally, Rakan leaves one ward to defend to see whether opponents are about to dive Jace, and if they don't, then your team doesn't lose anything. And if they do, then, well...
Like, don't we lose more on top side if we were already, like, rushing bot to try and play on this wave bot?
Only if opponents dive Jace on this specific wave.
Yeah. But they have more of a wave here than we do. Right? Do they? So we clear this one. Okay, no, they don't. So they have a wave bot, we have a wave top. Yeah, and Corki, I think, is harder to play this under tower than Jace is.
It also forces opponents to guess, because if your guys don't show on mid wave and they actually clear the vision of their entrance, like they entered Grubs in some way, so if they leave the same way, then opponents will not know where exactly they are. So it's harder to make a decision to dive Jace. So we could make a puzzle there.
Yeah,
I think Jace pushing or basing. Actually.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if that one is, because I think it's good, but I think it's also like, I don't want to overload with like loads of puzzles, especially considering you already have a bunch, which I think are probably already going to be really useful. It depends. It depends how much effort it is. Like, what in an ideal world is if it could just be made like instantly, and then we look at it and see if it's worth it. But that seems really silly.
We can do it. Like, it will take us some time.
Okay. Well, how about write it down as a potential, and if by the end of the review we've only got a few, then do it. And if we've got loads, then don't. How about that? Because I don't want to give you guys like just a shit ton of stuff to do, especially as I'm still working out the process of how we'll actually get the players to do it and how we'll actually talk about it and all that kind of thing.
Don't worry about the effort it takes. It will take us some time to align and actually give your team quality stuff.
Okay. So enemy goes towards top side. We lose his mid wave though. Then we come towards bot. I mean, they just misplay this, I think. I remember thinking this at the time. Like, I think this cross map for me, I don't like. Because he should just ult the next wave and not be caught away from the wave. So Rumble has to know this is coming. For me, he ults this next wave already and then just legs it away, and we don't have a play, don't we? They take this tower and we don't get anything.
Could your guys be here slightly earlier on that cannon wave?
So this was just after the Grubs now.
So that's the cannon wave, basically, that they want to be on.
I think it's hard. After just playing that Grubs, I think it's hard to be on this like instantly. But this whole thing of them setting up a play where we play bot and they... Like, the cross map for me is really hard with the amount of tools that they have. Unless we can insta go on this Rumble somehow. like you say, like unless we can be ready for this cannon wave. But I don't think we can after we want to take the camps on top side.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, like he just fucks it up, which is why it looks okay. But if Rumble just like, I don't know why he's walking out there. Like he should know everyone's coming. This is one of those plays. I have this a lot. Like, I know they're all here, and in this case, if you could already just ult this bot wave, and then we don't have any play. But instead, he doesn't even ult it, and he dies. So that we get the tower and they get the tower. But I think they get the tower and the herald, and we get nothing. Or is that too harsh? So from this state, like if I'm Matchco, I think like we see Syndra, we get push in mid, we get the first move, and we have Samira and we have Maokai. We're going this side. If anyone shows on this tower, they're insta-dead because our dive is insanely good. And Rumble just has to already here, just be standing here, press R, and then walk away.
Yeah.
And he's fine.
I agree with that.
But then if you go back from our point of view, like, what do we do instead then? Because we just lose.
Once again, but it once again starts with not cross mapping on time from that Grubs. Like if you're losing a fight on top side, you have to look for cross map options earlier instead of looking for a sneaky smite.
Or even you can say it goes from the dragon, because we would just take the Grubs fully.
Yeah, you could say that.
Because the Grubs are scuffed because the dragon we all died at.
Yeah.
And then this play, we're lucky. And so they take this, and we take that. And then Maokai comes and dies as well. Okay, third dragon I wrote down. Definitely has some things. Okay, what do we do from base here? I never like having not group presets. Like, can't Syndra just base whenever on bases? Does she need this wave? 1200. Because now he bases.
Could have based the last wave, indeed.
Yeah, you could be on time with everyone. So that I think as well is it doesn't need to be a puzzle, but I'll talk to Freddie about it as well. When everyone's basing and you don't need the wave, just base, I think, so that you're out on time.
Mm-hmm.
Because already then you'd be playing on this wave instead. Like Varus, nothing would change about mid lane because Samira just collects this wave and one shots it anyway. So both people would arrive when the wave is neutral. And then you'd already be coming out of bot lane to collect this bot wave. And Jace is here to allow us to poke before this situation. Jace runs back towards top side, but has TP. Okay, I'm pretty sure, remembering this, there's definitely some like puzzles that we can make here. That would be good ones. Because we also never really get opportunities to fully poke them in this game. Now we've lost control of this. Now we teleport to mid lane.
This could be a good question for Syndra. Never mind. Opponents gave the position, so I think I thought in the moment that teleporting to mid would be a viable option, but opponents gave the positioning in the river.
Even this I don't like. Like we're a poke comp, and this is a situation to be poking, but our person who does the best poke said poke too many times in this sentence. The person who's like our best tool for our win condition is also the one who's gone to mid to clear it.
But the way the team is approaching the fight on Dragon is a little off, since everyone wants to be.
You can say
on
it's
the
shit.
same
I thought that's what you were going to say. That's what I think. Yeah. So already, okay. So from this whole sequence, I think is good. So, right, we just got very lucky.
Mm-hmm.
No one needs to go bot. Or well, they will, but not yet. First question is like with the resets. I think Syndra just should reset here to be on time with everyone else. That can be a question for everyone, even though it's just for Syndra.
Mm-hmm.
And the key sort of process or rule would be if you don't need the extra gold for the wave and you do need to base, you should base in time with everyone else, just as a default rule.
Mm-hmm.
Because you never know what's going to happen. We just know now that we're actually 4v5 on the map from like, okay, from 1625 until 17.5. We're just not 5 people on the map, and it should be much shorter. So that's the first thing. What's the next question?
I think once Syndra is on bot side, how do you approach the fight or the river control rather? Like this support and jungle rotation into bot is very good. Opponents just gave this wave or left it for Syndra to collect. Although I think opponents could have pushed this already, since Syndra is late. But Corki chose a safer.
Either way, you'd collect out of the tower, right? You'd lose some tower damage.
Yeah.
But...
So here Syndra makes a decision to push the next wave instead of getting a better position on Dragon. And I thought, if you go for the next wave, should you commit teleport to group together with the team?
This also I really don't like. I don't like not having these connect wards. It's the same one, we talked about this last time, last team. Same one here if you're the other team. If you're red side, like these points, not having this ward makes it really nervous for me to push the next wave. And we could just have that ward, right? We had Rakan just there, right? I think. So the person who's going by themselves, so we're putting more resources into mid than in bot lane, but they're both either side of the objective. The one on the lane that has less resources, so in this case bot, needs some sort of bridge ward or connect ward. So here, like I think warding in here is really important for me. Because would you feel a bit different about it then if we knew there's no one here? Like then I think you can push the next wave.
I think you
lose position on it, but you get the next wave and then they have to respond. And then the thing for me is just like we want with our comp, it kind of answers the question that someone had on YouTube. The global goal, I assume you mean like our win condition, which is just to poke them, like get poke damage before the fight starts with Varus and with Jace, and then play the fights really, really slowly with like multiple rotations of Syndra spells, Syndra stuns, those kind of things. So here is like some great opportunity to get some poke down, which we try and do, but most of it misses, unfortunately. Wait, how did Syndra get half HP? Okay, now she has a connect ward, but we've already lost position. Maybe you're right. Maybe this next wave is in anyway. Because if we can't hold the position, then she's going to be really vulnerable on the bottom side. And we can't hold the position without her.
To get a good position later in the fight. Like Rakan and Sidrani want to be on this mid wave to contest it.
Yeah.
But not on bot side. So they expose Syndra.
Unless you push this slower so that it's in time with the other one. But I don't think you can. So like if we're playing the dragon on these two waves, we have to contest this one first.
Mhm.
in which case Syndra shouldn't be there.
Or
mean-
the whole team contests from bot and Jace rotates to mid and collects the wave. But then Jace is isolated as well.
There's no scrims today, by the way. We couldn't find a partner for on stream. Yeah, so Jace has TP to join, which he's going to just clear the wave and TP to mid lane. But it could be that we... The thing is the fight even good without any poke landing first? Like, if they get this engage... Oh, Maokai ult's down. Why is...
From the last fight on bot lane.
Oh yeah, I was just thinking, like, why is everyone's ults permanent in this game? Like, why is our ults? Why are all our ults never like? They're never in sync. And then flashes, like everyone has flash basically, other than Maokai, which I think is less important in a game like this. Although obviously worse engage, so that's good for us. Because I was thinking if Syndra's coming across now, we need to be able to actually fight. And I think actually when everyone's on full HP and we haven't had any poke land, the fight isn't as good for us as the next cycle, in which case it is okay for Syndra to push this wave. I think the vision is okay. And then she just needs to not get chunked. Okay, that's just mechanical, yeah, right. So Syndra gets chunked from Corki. I think if we can play the fight, then I think Syndra should join straight away, and then she's in a much better position in the fight. But for me, I'm looking for windows where we can try and throw some poke. So like, I don't know why this has been thrown at Leona and not Samira. I know Samira has W, but if we get Samira's W down, it has what? 30-second cooldown. Like if she uses W for one Varus Q right now, I'd take that. Then we
right now.
Yeah.
Now the positioning is already very awkward since Syndra doesn't want to be bot side. She wants to be on mid lane together with Jace, probably like holding the same spot, maybe slightly apart.
So the other thing to do would be Syndra clears this wave. Firstly, this is all, as always, this is all so much better if Syndra's already bot lane, because then you can just push and group up.
100% agree.
So it all comes from the mistake of not basic.
Yeah, Rakan, like imagine right now, Rakan and Sejuani can be bot side covering Syndra.
Yeah, she's already killed this wave because Varus has already killed this wave. So she's literally...
Arguably, she could be taking the next wave very close to the enemy tower.
Yeah,
and then
exactly. The whole thing is just a million times better. So that's a big one. I could just make that as a video. Wait, let me just write it down. Because I think firstly, like Nash needs to base on the one before. What was the timer? That one could go just to Noway. Like he just needs to base there. The other thing actually with these puzzles is like we could just make something like this fight from just Noway's point of view.
And everyone else answers, or what do you mean?
No, just he answers. I mean,
okay.
Like, so it could still be very useful, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because, okay, this one that gives us a rule for everybody is fine. I like that. I like everyone answering that one. Maybe it's fine, actually. Maybe I'm just overthinking it. Yeah, so at this stage, can she just keep running towards mid? Like, if we were stronger, I would say we push them out together and then Jace can TP to bot lane instead of mid lane, but we're not. So it's already really awkward. I think we then have to play really slow and look for windows to poke. So here's a little window, here's a little window. But all this time, Varus is mid clearing the wave and he's like our best poke. But Charge is obviously getting a load of damage down. What were you going to say?
I'm surprised that Noway is still, like, he manages to stay safe even though Like he actually finds a better angle than if
huge
he
stun.
was grouped with the
Yeah,
tree.
yeah.
But maybe it's a mistake of the opponents to not look aggressively enough on him.
Yeah, he has flash. This fight ends up being good. It's interesting.
And that Leona had ult and E and flash for a while.
Yeah, she's half HP, but yeah, I think at any stage here, we're also not sure that this isn't warded. Like it's not warded, but do we? I don't think we actually know that, do we? We know that they came through here, and then we go back through that same place. No one sweeps this. We don't know it's not warded. If it's warded, he just gets flashied. Or flash ulted. Like flash ult E and he dies, right? Unless he has to, at the very least, insta-flash it. And I'm sure we were bad at timing summoners. I'm sure we don't know Maokai flash is down. Because if Maokai flash was up, he also can get flash W if there's any vision in this place that we know they were there and we don't know if it's not warded.
Opponents were also quite slow on pulling the trigger because Syndra is isolated from, and she has to, like, this is a perfect angle, of course, but if opponents pulled the trigger and moved into the trio towards mid lane, then Syndra would be isolated and she doesn't want to be flanking when opponents are engaging. But as it happens, opponents didn't pull the trigger and they just got killed before they could do anything.
Okay, but we can at least make the question about the basing on mid lane, for sure. Because that one for me is really important for everyone to know. Nash had a base thing before, but I think that's a little smaller. Dragonflight is down. This next one, which we didn't actually get a chance to talk about, we talked about it very briefly. This we talked about that we didn't want them to take this wave on top side, that we should play more aggressively on this half of the map.
You mean the wave that's coming?
The wave that's coming, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So here Jace gets push, starts moving, but Rumble has TP advantage.
So it's a shift then.
Yeah, but the basic thing was, even though Rumble has TP, we shouldn't be afraid of it because it takes so long now to get there. So Innaxe didn't like the fact that we let them clear this top wave. This wave here. But I don't think we can actually do much about it.
I think you can. Samira showed on mid, and Jace could fully rotate to mid. Varus can fully rotate to top. You can siege on the next wave. You can at least get like if Rumble doesn't work,
so
will probably be top side.
Jankos said here he should just have already started. Should start the herald now, rather than go for this dive, because he's never killing him on the dive. He said. So if he's already hitting the herald. Firstly, I think we should also have this warded, or someone holding this position and try, because we know too late that they're coming to clear this pink, and then we should hold this pink ward. So we see Leo in the mid lane. We see Maokai on this side. We get rid of the blast code, but here this hugging mid. I mean, we still don't know where they are. So until we actually see numbers here, Varus isn't super safe. Now we know he's safe. What do you think?
My opinion stays the same, that Jace should have rotated on the previous wave on mid lane, and Varus fully rotates to top to play on the wave. And because someone needs to catch mid and bot, your guys would have number advantage on top side.
This wave then. So this wave Jace takes in mid and we siege
Varus
top
takes over
lane.
top lane.
Okay.
Because Jace can't really push next wave bot. He's already deep enough. And so you basically, as a team, have two lanes with prior, bot lane and mid lane pushed deep. So opponents have to answer. And then while they answer, you have a play on top on that wave.
That wave that's just died. And it will be faster than their play on bot side. So even though even though Rumble would have TP, like we would be able to make the play first on the wave. Jace would be a mid. Yeah.
And if Rumble continues to push bot, you can force his TP as well.
You
have herald.
Okay. So how would this be a puzzle? We come out of base here. Corki TP's top. We clear the wave bot. We bring back there.
So first we can ask the question when to start herald. So it is indeed on Jankos to start it immediately because we have mid and top prior secured.
Yeah, this one we did already discuss. That's the thing. I don't know. Actually, maybe that's fine. That's one of the things that I think is really good about puzzles. Is like, I mean, it's the same in. What's that thing? There's a theory of chess improvement which involves doing like gradually more and more puzzles, but you do the same ones. So my point is that even though we discussed this, it might still be worth having the question again. And we just hope everyone says we should start herald. Yeah. So it's it's just a good refresher, you know? Yeah.
The second one could be, what does Varus do? What do Jace do? Or for the team, is this a shift towards mid and then shift towards top for Varus?
So once we nuke this wave in bot, we have full free time to just run up towards mid and take over that wave, which means that we can also, firstly, we hit the herald a bit to go a little bit faster if we can't play on this wave. And then we
cannot play on that wave, indeed.
We would have like Varus here though. We can't play on this wave and on herald, I think, probably. But we can at least poke a bit on it.
Then you might slow down the herald to such extent that you can't play on the next wave top. Together.
True. But also the vision here and here ideally. Like if we want to play, if this is where we want to play, then like this vision and this vision is less useful.
Definitely.
And then because we tried to go top, but Corki's already taken the wave, we then get super slowed.
And now opponents have tempo advantage if they want to play for Atakan or for bot side.
And they do. And they play on bot.
So the next step in this, this could also be a puzzle. What do you do when you lost control on the
And also Varus picked up herald, by the way. This was already from, again, something that I really don't like, which is that we're telling each other the micro of how to do the game. And because of that, we end up... Is there nothing here that it's beneficial to hit the herald for, or do you get XP from it anyway?
You get XP anyway.
Yeah, and there's no stack or anything.
No.
Okay. I don't think Varus should pick that up, but that's a separate point. Okay, so now then the next question would be, now that Corki has killed mid wave. I mean, the fact that we all walk up to it is really annoying. What should we do? Firstly, someone needs to pick up Herald, but we don't need to have that as one of the answers. We catch mid wave high and we protect our bot side, I guess.
Yeah.
Being the best choice.
But now that didn't happen because Rakan had to base for wards, which is also understandable. He needs to find a spot to base. He should run straight to bot because bot lane is exposed, and he should drop defensive vision, in my opinion.
Yeah. So where would you have the question come in then?
Could be at the moment of recalling. Like it could be specifically for Rakan because now you're you have to make, as a team, you have to make a defensive move into bot side. Opponents can't really play into top because, well, it's T2 and they are on wards and they are not walking up on blue buff, so it's likely. And next objective is Atakan, and there is T1 on bot lane, which is relatively easy to take. So considering that we are not contesting this mid wave, and we know that from the moment that Rakan bases, we are basically on the back foot and should try and play defensively. And in that case, it's a question for Rakan: should he open to mid, to top? So if he opens to mid, it's not particularly useful because the wave is gone. To top, we are not playing ahead in tempo, so opening to bot is probably the best that you can defend one play from the opponents.
Yeah. It didn't need to be, but it is actually only Leona that's here. Okay, it could have been Maokai as well, but... Yeah, and then we would defend this wave on bot lane. And then we could go back and play towards mid again if we wanted to. With the Herald.
You also have TP advantage on the side lane.
Chess puzzles do have an objective advantage on completion, isn't supported right now, League. What do you mean? Like the thing that's a big difference in obviously chess puzzles and the ones we're making now is that in chess puzzles are used for tactics. It's like the equivalent of mechanics trainers, whereas we're making puzzles about strategy really, which is all the like multiple options, less clear, fast or slow game, those kind of things is that strategy in chess. Tennis, there is a neutral position you return to in between shots, in between objectives. What's the neutral position for League? Bot lane mid and side laners on side, I guess, if there is one. So I think that's why Nash goes mid here, is because the neutral position for a support is to run down mid lane so that you can be near objectives. And then he shouldn't be because it's not neutral. It's enemy has tempo. Okay. Still though, in a good spot, we just need to be poking. And then this is where we start just like we die on side, then we die on side, then we die on side. And it's, I think again, because, I mean, this is just, we just see her. We saw her. We just can't play on this wave, right?
I didn't notice the minimap, but if we did see her, I mean, even if we didn't see her, yeah. Even if we didn't see her, Syndra walking up that far,
yeah,
it is a little rough.
So we got the trade kills. Clear the bot wave. Someone is resetting. You just clear this and just take wolves, honestly. Like if you've got nothing to do, just get some other farm. Because this way.
I have a question actually.
Yeah.
You say that going into top side right now is better than going into bot.
For the team?
Yeah.
So after we kill, like here.
Because Sejuani and Rakan are opening through bot side.
Yeah. I think it's better, yeah. I think mid to top is better. Bot wave's already gone. Atakan's not really a worry. We spoke about this on our first day of practice as well. Like, Atakan just shreds you too much. If everyone's alive, whoever starts Atakan is at a disadvantage. Maokai's dead as well, so he's just going to come out of base. We should play on this wave and then on this wave.
And then you also have herald. So even in the scenario where for some reason you decide not to contest Atakan, as long as Varus is alive, you could play for T2 top or at least get a return.
So actually, he's out of position because everyone else is out of position. It's still like he knows that everyone is on this side of the map and he shouldn't clear this wave. But I think you're right. Okay. So we've got the puzzle for sure around the first dragon. We've got the puzzle maybe around the herald. And we've got some individual moments like the third dragon Noway basing first. Because this one as well. Okay. So this one can be like, where should Rakan go after the base, after the herald? Or is it in your experience, is it better to like keep on the same one? Because this is happening straight after herald. So
we could showcase as an introduction, let's say first 15-20 seconds of the team taking herald, losing the...
But we had questions on herald is what I'm saying. So like, is it better to...
We could connect those.
Yeah.
It's better to connect.
Better to connect. Okay. So that means then first question is about this full shift and about when to start herald.
Mm-hmm.
Or that could be two questions. Then next question is after we lose this top wave, and I would be specific about like after we lose the top wave, where should Rakan open? And we just say, well, we fucked up, we're behind on tempo, it's not a neutral state, mid lane's going to be gone before you get there, so you should go bot lane to defend the play. And I think, even going mid we can have as okay option, and this is good option. I don't think they need to be like wrong or anything like that. So that's then question 2 or 3, depending on if we need 2 for the setup.
Yep.
Now, after both of these have been killed, and we clear this wave, but should Syndra walk up for the wave? And I don't know how you ask this, because you could do it in like a kind of tricky way, where if you look at it from Syndra's point of view and say, should you walk up for the wave? I think most people, if not all of them, say no, including Freddy. But actually, if one of the options is like, the team should play topside and play on this wave, or do you ask it as a team?
Arguably, if we present it from the team perspective, it's going to be a bit easier on the map
easier to answer.
Syndra,
yeah,
and also more interesting for the team.
And also when it's early puzzles, the kind of joke or like emotional resonance side of it, where it could make it more memorable because it's a little bit of a trap question. Trap questions are always kind of more memorable, but it's not worth the risk, I think, when they're just getting used to puzzles and stuff like that. So we'll ask it from a team point of view.
Yeah.
So here, like, should we open and play on mid top or mid bot, basically?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, we play mid and this top wave, and we get this tower on this top wave. And all of this, like, these two should be in here. Like, no one should be out of this area, like in between these two waves. For me.
I agree.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Good spot.
Thanks.
And then we push up mid and just about get away, and we kill on bot side. But all this time, like, we end up losing way too much, I think. Because really, like, this is so unproductive time because there wasn't a wave here for them to get. And because he gets the whole wave and he takes a bunch of time, they then get this tower and they get mid tower. We, with Herald, get bot tower. Yeah. So I don't like this. But I think all of this just comes from that same thing. We should be playing topside instead of bot. After we clear that wave bot. Okay. So we don't need to go into that. If there are no objectives up that are important for you, why can't you freeze waves on sides? Both side lanes seem to be permanently pushed. You could deny resources. Well, I would probably want to see specific examples, but there's almost always something you can play for. Like, for example, here, when we push this wave top, like we were saying, we should play on top side and we should play for this tower. So even though there wasn't dragon or like herald or anything at that point, you still have these as objectives to play for. There are probably times where we can freeze on side, but freezing on side is also much harder than it used to be since the changes, because the waves don't like ping back and forward as much. Like they have that neutralizing factor. Yeah, since the side lane change. So like the wave will stay here by default, which means it's much harder for Rumble to freeze it. Whereas what would have happened in the past is, well, okay, actually what would have happened in the past is this wave would have pushed back this way. But when the wave is fighting here, what would have happened in the past normally is it's fighting there because there's more minions on this side, which means you can just last hit and then you freeze. Whereas now, because it's always neutral, if you leave this wave, it actually stays about here. Like it stays probably between these 2 points, stays really, really close. And it just stay there forever. And so if anyone touches it, if anyone just last hits, it will still ping back, which means you might as well just hard shove it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't. That happened while I wasn't scrimming with the team, and so I got told it, and then I was like, okay, and then I kept playing with Nord, and then I had to have again another conversation with Chachi, and he was like, yeah, this just doesn't happen like that anymore. It's just fully changed. So it's really weird.
Do you have any? Could you explain the logic behind it? Like you said, the wave would stay there forever.
Yeah, I can even just probably find you some examples from this game. You can just watch it now. The logic, like as in, I don't know how it works specifically, but like the minions have been changed so that it stays in the same place. So if you leave a side lane, obviously what it used to do was go one way into the tower, then the other way into the tower, then the whole way into the tower. And you could freeze, but then you also used to like, you would crash the third wave and then leave it, and then when it comes back you'd have like a fully free play, right? And then when you come back, if you just like push this grouped and they just matched you, and then you went back to side and collect the wave when it comes back, you would just generate like 500 gold from just them not collecting that wave and you collecting a massive stacked wave. But nowadays it just stays. So I don't know how the coding is done, but it's literally like the purpose of the change was so that waves on the sides don't ping back and forward. So I don't know how they actually change it specifically, but I literally, I was so blown away by this. It changes like everything. And yeah, you can literally watch it. Like I'll see if I can find an example from this game. But after I talked about it with Tamas, I was just like, okay. And then we found a time and literally had to go into a game and find a specific time. And you could just watch it. And for like 2 minutes, the wave was just here. Like none of the towers were up, and it just stayed like between this point and this point.
It's very curious if it is true like that. I feel like it could be just a situation like that, because the minions also have extra damage depending on the average level of the team.
No, it happens every time like that. I mean, like it wasn't just like one moment, and that's why when you see like a lot of top teams, we made a video about it actually. I can link you that because me and Treats were trying to find out like, is that really what's happening and what the teams do with it, and so we did a review of it. And if you look at like, we were looking at Fnatic G2, I think was the game, and basically people just fully ignore side lanes because you don't need to go to them, and so. Let me find it. Your videos. Okay, so this is not exactly an efficient way because it's an 1.5 hour long video. So apologies for that. I'll post it in both the chats and I'll link it to you as well.
Thank you.
But this was a bit of a moment for me, because it's just the changes. If I'm scrimming at the same time, like it stays in my head, whereas if I'm not, it just like I probably read it and was just didn't see it again. So if Rumble hadn't touched this, it wouldn't like ping back away or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, this was another one. This goes well, and then I think this is where we lose the game. I think we just extend the play way too much. But we thought it was fine afterwards, which I don't like. So let's look at it again, because this could well be a situation for a... Okay, so Rumble pushes this, Jace pushes this. So yeah, before this was a nightmare situation, and now it's fine. Well, we can even look at it.
Okay.
Like, it's wild.
Okay, thank you. Eye-opening.
Yeah, I literally was like, I think Vizicsaci's inting, and it's like, no, the game is just different now. Anyway. Okay. So we cleared the mid wave. Jace is shifting across to get the next mid wave. Fucking Corky Z is perma on again. So I'll turn it off. So we're sort of like, we're just slow contesting this area. We have no vision control at all. We do have some wards, but... And then they just engage on us. Is this just a bad engage from them, and that's why we win? And that is a bit obnoxious. Then we want to start this dragon. For me, this was the play that was like... ends up costing us the game. I just think when the wave is gone, we get so little for this kill. We said afterwards that this is fine to go for, but like, I just think...
This is Nash on spawn though, no?
What?
This could be a Nash on spawn, like taking Baron as it spawns if you get Rumble and reset and run into Nash.
Yeah, true. True. Ends up costing us the game, or the most of our lead. But maybe it's just results.
It didn't work out.
Yeah. It's just my gut is when we do this objective, after we just want a close fight, like to just reset and just be out on the map and ready. Maybe that's wrong. Maybe he's just inting. He has to be punished.
He does look a bit like he is inting. And
yeah.
If you are unsure, like if the team is unsure whether they can get him, then Jace should be TPing in advance probably.
Yeah, these two are coming out on the map full HP. We don't have ult on Seju. Not on Seju. On well, we don't have ult on Seju. On Syndra to like one-shot him. Like, how would we play it differently? Like, what? How would we play it differently that makes him a free kill? Like, he still has flash.
Will you show your vision in this whole sequence?
Yeah. So, I think there's probably stuff about the fight setup that we could ask about, but just for this part. So, when we clear this, this is the state of the game. 14 seconds on, well, 10 plus seconds on both ADs. Maokai, we'll assume, has just gone to base.
Do you think it's worth investing a teleport from Jace as soon as either now or as soon as opponents TP?
I think
that would be
what we said is as soon as they TP, we should TP. We were thinking about cancelling. So like now he should just TP. He was trying to cancel.
Yeah.
Like he could be TPing already.
But to be honest,
But for me, like this is my point, is that I still think like Rumble doesn't even flash. I don't think he's that vulnerable here. But even after watching it back, everyone was sure like, okay, no, we just the call was kind of like, okay, we just misplayed it.
I think
But what would we actually play differently? These Qs can't be hitting Rumble. You can't be close enough to just 1v1 him.
Yeah, I don't think 3v1. I think 3v1 they will kill him eventually, but because it turns into a full fight, we have to take into account Jace's decisions as well. And if Jace decides to TP immediately, then it is also possible that Corki is inting. Then it's a 4v3 fight.
So Jace would be here.
I assume that he TPs at the same time.
If he TPs, yeah, so he would be here now, and he could be in this spot as even better than a tower. So let's say Jace is here now. Then maybe do we just kill Rumble and?
I think Corki is also dead here.
He's still got Zhonya's and he's still got Flash. So he's got Zhonya's and Flash, and Maokai's coming and Leona's coming.
I think mostly because of the position, the fight would be significantly easier to play for our team than for enemies.
Yeah.
His opponents are stuck in front of the tower. Wait, it's not tower, right? Is it a bug?
This is tower.
No, it is.
Yeah.
Then opponents would be a bit stuck.
Yeah.
And if we kill Rumble and Corki, then it's either Baron or Atakan and reset into Baron setup.
I think it'd be reset into Baron, yeah, because we'd be so low.
But if you follow your logic with not going for Rumble here, then my problem with that is that opponents will get tempo on bot side. Rumble will likely just take the wave, take the tower, because your team still needs to reset.
No, but Syndra doesn't need to reset, right? If everyone else does. Unless she has she's got 500 gold. Like Syndra can just come here and clear the wave. So he clears the wave, we clear the wave, everyone gets the base, comes back out on base with Varus, and we just reset the map to...
Wouldn't she have to play safer if she wants to come here and
Yeah, she would come this way and just clear the wave under the tower. But he can't get tower, is what I'm saying.
But if she walks that way, then Rumble, then she will be also a bit exposed. She has to get under tower somehow. But I also think if she misplays a bit,
she just walks to tower, no?
Then Rumble can ult.
No, he just ulted in the fight. In the fight around Dragon. No one has cooldowns, because this is just after the Dragon fight. And that's the thing for me, is that we're so often just doing the next play and then the next play and then the next play and then the next play. And I think even if there's ways to make this play work, I would just say okay, just cut it and reset, let's get our tools back and actually get ready to hit the next window properly, because this whole game we're just chasing the next kill and then the next kill and then the next kill. Because the thing for me is I see this and for me, Rumble doesn't nearly die here. I know Jace can TP early, but he doesn't use Zhonya's. He doesn't flash anything. So it does feel bad to let him have this wave, because it fucks your tempo for the next cycle for sure.
I'm a little bit worried with Syndra walking into the tower to defend it if your team bases. Because opponents, if Rumble walks up like this, then opponents could as well stay on the map and look for tempo extension here.
They were super low though, right? Leona's dead. So if I show you the whole sequence, firstly, I also think maybe there's some stuff in the actual setup of this dragon. But this is where we end up losing the game. And I just think this is where I would talk about it's too early with this team, but the strategy of the game. So for me, it's really useful. Again, it's just from chess. to start talking about tactics and strategy. So tactics is what we do based on the current state of the map, and strategy is what we do to push the map into a state that we want it. And in this game, the state that we want it is like everyone somewhere and not fighting, because then eventually poke will land. And so we didn't have very many opportunities to actually poke with our comp in this game. And a lot of that is because it's just like next play, next play, next play, next play, next play. And so even though each individual window or each individual play might be like arguable, I think you just get a higher percentage chance of winning the game by just saying like, we'll just reset and we look for the next opportunity to set up a fight and play it slowly with all ults. And it's good for us when we've got like a lead in the game, especially as we're going to get this dragon and stop them getting soul. But yeah, if I show the whole fight, also this fight is, I think, bad just because of them rather than because of us. But
Yeah, this is not the best choke point for Maokai ult. And the angle could be better.
And then Chachi gets a really nice snipe. So then they run, and while we take dragon, he takes bot waves.
Yeah.
And that for me is the trade for bot waves. It's not like Rumble is getting this for free. Rumble is getting it for dragon. They kill this. And then here, this is the thing where I'm just saying like, okay, look, I think, yeah, I can see that there's situations where I can see that it feels really bad to let him just kill these waves and get away. And it feels like he's kind of inting. And I think there's micro details you could play differently. But I would say that everyone's mindset at this stage should just be a defensive cycle. Like we just clear the waves and reset. And like, we don't need to be super aggro on this timer because we just did the thing. That would be my thinking.
I think I can agree with your logic here, and it definitely makes sense to reset with the idea that you go for Baron setup. Like one guy pushes top, takes T1 top. Okay, but what I would adjust here is that I wouldn't want Syndra to go bot from Dragon, and because she will be locked in under tower, she will not be able to pressure Rumble. She will be second, and then if she stays on bot lane, she will need cover to push out. Like ideally, you would want to make one rotation into bot, push deep, but then it defies the purpose of your team rolling here to prepare Nash, because well, if you have to make a rotation into bot, then there is no point in.
Yeah. So Syndra should go mid and Jay should go bot.
I would even say like just recall all together, give the tower if you have to, make a quick play, start playing into top on that wave that is stacking or is like staying there. Or whatever the next play that's coming there, let's say like this, you can play for T1, and then it's a trade-off. Okay, you gave T1 on bot lane, but you will have tempo on top side if you recall immediately after Dragon.
And if they while they're taking this, if we set up on this side, like at this stage of the game, that's a completely worthwhile trade for me. Like full setup around Baron is a worthwhile trade for this bot tower, where like the bot tower is not going to win or lose you the game, but getting full setup here, starting this, and then when they come into our full control, just poking them, then suddenly we've got an opportunity to poke.
Indeed. At that moment, they would have to commit to the cross map, I think. Rumble wouldn't want to reset and run to top and play into full enemy vision. Yeah. So they are kind of forcing an awkward situation for themselves. Their opponents, I mean.
Yeah, so I'm just thinking like, for me, I think this warrants a discussion rather than a puzzle. But I don't even know if I can make it a productive discussion this early on with the team. That's what I'm thinking about. Because
apologies for interrupting.
No, that's right.
If we did make a puzzle, then the players would have some time to structure their thoughts about this play, and it takes us some time to discuss it right now. It would take them a few more, at least 2 minutes to think. Setting up Nash is more worth than getting a kill on Rumble.
Yeah. The problem I've got here is that the reason for my explanation is this thing about strategy, and I would almost be like, I would want to talk that through with them before. And the other thing is that it's the most difficult thing that I've had to teach players in general. There are some players, like as it so happens, like Treats and Centaurum was also quite good at this, who sort of are already thinking a little bit like that. and we're just talking about like, okay, what's the percentage chance of winning if we set up situations for us to poke versus the percentage chance of winning that this person is inting? And like, it's a bit, it has to be a bit weird and abstract. And in general, it's very hard to kind of conceptualize for a lot of people. So that's the only thing that I'm thinking, is that I don't know. Maybe you're right. It's maybe better, interesting as a puzzle anyway. Yeah, I mean the basic question in this play, if we can find some, let's find some ones for the setup as well, and then maybe it works, because the basic question for me in this play is, are we going to be the kind of team that prioritizes like what we see in front of us or what we want to make happen? So we want to make situations where we can just throw poke at them. And if we go for the next thing, like someone's overextending, let's try and kill them, and we make this skirmish happen, then it can quite easily snowball into the next thing, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. But just like someone was saying in the chat, I think either way we should show it, because I think the conclusion, we were running out of time, but I think the conclusion was like, okay, we like this play, we just misplayed it. But I can't see what we misplayed. Like, we didn't miss anything that we we didn't miss anything. So I don't know what we misplayed. We didn't even catch that E, for example.
Only
just the TP.
It would be mainly TP.
Just the TP. Yeah.
From the player POV, I understand this decision completely.
Yeah, it looks tasty and it feels shit to let him take it.
Yeah.
Mm.
But your logic reminds me of Rogue in the past, when they were very strict and disciplined on the plays they take. It appeals to me too.
Yeah,
I leave it up to you.
Yeah, it's tricky. I think let's make a puzzle and see what they say as answers. So the question would be, after this, what do we do? Well, there's actually two questions as well. Like, I guess, so okay, let's go back to the beginning, because there's two questions. The first one as well, I think it's better for Syndra to go mid and Jace to go bot already, if Syndra is vulnerable in this matchup against Rumble. But how should we set up this dragon at this stage? So we fucked up the cross maps already. We talked about that. Like, where we go, we should be playing. Wait, what was this? I'm pretty sure we talked about this, but I can't remember what we talked about.
Yeah, we did.
We should play on the top side. Yeah. Okay. Jesus, this. I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm only gonna be able to do one game because there's 2 hours of this. And my brain is fried.
It's all right, coach. We're doing
it. Yeah, we're doing the Lord's work. Okay, so. Yeah, so we already should play on top side. Then again, I think, are we going to use ult? No, surely. Okay, no, we are. So again, we're throwing out ult 45 seconds before dragon. So ult's not going to be out for dragon. And we lose both our sums before dragon. But Samira saves her summoners, so she has them for dragon, but dies for it. Which, to be quite honest, I actually prefer. She shouldn't cleanse. If she's not going to flash, she shouldn't cleanse. For me, like, because cleanse is not going to be out for dragon either, right? So, like, either you flash this wall, or you just don't use anything. And then if she has flash cleanse, and we have no sums and ult, like, again, in the previous roster of Nord, which was thinking about the game quite differently and much more thinking about like pressure and stuff like that, I think if we're them, Treats is saying this is a really good situation for us because Samira died, but Varus has no flash and cleanse. Okay, so now we reset. So from here, how should we play this? Jace goes towards top. Sejuani's going in like quite isolated.
Would you argue that your solo laners should TP on this mid wave and group together immediately? it's a soul, so the positioning of
Yes.
the objective seems very important.
Yes. I think we want to fight on this wave. And I think right now, okay, Samir is dead, so maybe not. But I like the thinking. Like this is the perfect use for TP for me, you know? Like, okay, we're not ready. So if we TP now, I think Syndra should TP to be here. Because her not being here, like, is a problem.
It just became a bit awkward as we saw that opponents are contesting, but our two guys are not there yet.
Yeah, and also we can't. I would prefer to push this wave actually higher. So I would prefer to push this wave a bit slower, have Syndra TP to it, and then actually push it further in. Because you've got one window where Samira just died and just respawned, and the fact that we have TP means that we can actually be on this wave quicker. And so this wave we can outnumber and we can push it deeper to get actual control.
We could,
because
but that
yeah,
I have an argument, a short argument against that. Like your carries have no.
Varus has no flash. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, and no Varus ult at this stage. Oh no, wait, we do have Varus ult back. Okay, yeah. So that does make it more confusing. But the thing that I'm thinking is that for us fighting around this wave, okay, there's a bunch of things to consider. Firstly, the objective's already up and it's sold, so maybe you can't do that. So maybe already that's just maybe you just don't have time. But for me, I think a fight around here is much harder for us than a fight around here. Again, because of the like strategy thing that we're talking about. Like here, you're much more likely to get situations where everyone knows where everyone is. You just throw shit at them and you don't let them engage at you, and eventually poke lands on someone. Mm-hmm. Whereas here, if they were good, you would be getting engaged on from multiple different directions. Here, the fact that Varus has no flash means he's for sure dead. Mm-hmm. And the fact that he doesn't just insta-die in this team fight, I think he does actually insta-die. But... And I do think the TP is another one. So definitely a question around that in terms of the setup. Like, do we... I think if it's like... If it was all 30 seconds earlier, I would rather we play on this wave like really deep and then we come back to the dragon. You know, like if the wave state was this, but the game state was plus 30 seconds, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So on the wave before the dragon. But maybe with the vision, actually, they can't do it. So you would be worried if we're playing on this wave that Varus gets engaged on and dies. But my question would be like, isn't he more vulnerable to the exact same thing just happening here?
I would say he's slightly less vulnerable because you have enough vision.
But if Syndra's here, TP's here, and Jace, or even Syndra and Jace TP.
I definitely agree that you could escort the wave a little further. You will have to
come through this way
here and there. If opponents are under tower and give you space to move like that, otherwise it's a perfect choke point for Rumble.
Yeah, true.
I do think that escorting the wave slightly further, but at the same time looking at the river and not allowing opponents to get control of the bushes is the best way to go. Going there directly immediately is not the best option.
Okay, so that's one. That can be a question. So we're trying to defend this vision now. The other thing as well is that we keep using our poke tools to kill the wave. Like, what if we just auto the wave and we save the Q for Corki when he comes in? Because while Syndra and Jace aren't here, what's the advantage of having this wave over here?
Yeah, you have a point.
Because especially as we've seen Maokai and Leona, and like we said, because we burn both our summoners, we're super vulnerable. So yeah, it's just happened a few times. But like, this is a time, Corki being here, I'm thinking like, we should be getting poke on this guy if we can. But instead our poke tool's on the wave. So that we clear the wave quickly. But because we're not ready, clearing the wave quickly we don't gain anything for him just clearing this wave. And I think it's like this defaulting. I mean, already, by the way, here, I think Varus is
in an awkward position.
Varus is dead. Like, Leona... Oh, no, she doesn't have ult. Okay. But I don't think we're standing there because we know it's 8 seconds on Leona ult. Considering the fact that we couldn't manage to time flashes in this scrim, I don't think we're timing Leona ult to the second. So I don't think we know that we're not dead there. But we would be dead there.
But even right now, Varus is slowed by sapling, so it was already an angle for them.
Yeah. And they all come from the same direction. Like, let me look at what they're trying to do. There's a thing with builds as well, Pity was saying. But that's a separate point, I think. The fact that they just don't insta get onto Varus, I think is just lucky for us. But again, a fight happens where we've had very little chance to poke because we just don't really set those situations up.
Also, I think your guys, even though this situation went so well, your guys are posturing a little too aggressively, too fast, and that's why opponents are pulling the trigger. They could be pulling trigger and being in a better position, and the fight could might look significantly worse.
So because they're being pressured.
Rakan has 3 wards, so it's not a big problem to retake slowly and poke meanwhile. But right now, you see how, because of this aggressive posturing by Rakan and Sejuani, opponents can pull trigger and find something, I think.
Yeah. And I think they can actually pull the trigger way more aggressively. Like where Corki is, like, I don't think they need to be backing off. Wait, where's their carry? Okay. Samira's not there. That's why they're backing off a bit. So Samira's coming, but not there. And still, as always, they all come from one direction, which is, I think, our best shot. Like if they'd have waited and Rumble had come around here, and then Rumble's coming this way as this is happening, then it's much more tricky, I think. But instead, it's just Rumble ult is the only thing so far that hurts anybody. And then, yeah, Varus dies, but Samira dies too. Okay, so the question about the waves, the question about how aggressively we posture here, and then the question about the who goes where to clear what waves, like who should go to clear mid. I think is a big one, because if Syndra ends up being, if it's a bad situation for Syndra to be trapped on side against Rumble, then she should be the one to go mid, right?
Yeah, we can definitely ask that.
Yeah. And then the last thing is like, what should happen here? We full reset, Syndra goes bot lane to clear the wave and the rest of us reset, or we make a play on Rumble and we're ready to TP to it. And I think you can't really say that any of those options are good or bad. I think those options are just an interesting discussion, an interesting discussion to have. Because especially in a game like this, I would want us to find situations to just poke them and we can just reset, and I could give a shit about this tower, and we play super hard on this side, and probably honestly we take this tower anyway, but we play super hard on this side, we get wards around the Baron, and we play on the next cycle and we're actually all ready. Whereas the other thing to do would be to TP instantly at the same time. But I just don't see this happening so often in an actual game. You know, like I can definitely picture a world where I get the team disciplined enough and on the same page enough to reset there and just give up the tower and be okay with it. But I'm actually not sure I can picture a world where I can, like, where we're all instantly TPing here as well. Does that make sense? Is that weird?
You cannot, or you can?
I can't really, because when this is happening, this is like they're saying he's a free kill. And if he's a free kill, then why are we thinking, like, why is Hamas ever thinking I need to TP? Because it's free. It's a free kill.
And I think then the communication could be slightly different, because opponents...
The thing is that, like, I think I completely agree. I think in a, like, theoretical world, the communication is always different, and you never say stuff like this skill is free, because it actually never is, and all this kind of thing. But I just mean in practice, especially given the time that I have with this roster, I don't know if I can ever get them to the point where we would actually TP to this play the same time as Corky. But maybe there is a way to do it. Whereas I do think there's a way to make us just say like, okay, we need to base to take the tempo.
I mean, I see. I know you're like, I can feel you're a little bit biased towards playing a more strategic way.
Oh,
and
definitely.
It really appeals to me. And with that in mind, I think it's fine to expect your player to react TP to enemies. It's just the communication in this case would be that we will.
We TP if he TPs.
Rumble.
Yeah, we TP if he TPs. Yeah. Yeah, that I think is absolutely possible. Match TP is absolutely possible. Cool. Obviously, the mistake as well is thinking that Rumble is completely free here, where he actually would take a lot longer to die if he wanted to use any cooldowns to survive. Yeah, okay. So those three can all be options. So it was the thing about the setup, if we TP, the thing about the posturing, how close we are, the thing about who goes mid, who goes bot, and then lastly, the thing about what do we do with when Rumble has killed this bot wave.
Yep.
Okay.
I got quite a few homework to do.
Yeah, this is one game. We are not organized as a team. And then from here, I think it's already quite hard. But I think there's one more fight that's like really bad for us. Again, we throw Varasol into Samira W, I think. Although at this stage, 57, okay.
Perfect position for a comp, for a poke comp.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is
over aggressive.
Yeah, one of the few times where we actually get it, but it's more on them. Like we didn't really make this happen; they kind of made it happen. And I just want to make that happen more often. Throw Varus out again.
I was going to say, should there be a rotation, one rotation into bot by Rakan and Sejuani, or maybe just Rakan? Not on this wave that Rumble is taking, but on the next one likely.
So for this wave that's coming out? It can be, but that he would still be in time for it, right? He can make a quick play here and then still come across.
I think he can indeed.
Yeah. I just think this should be Varasol first, if we're going to Varasol. Actually, no, it's fine. It just needs to stack it. Sedge key first is fine, and just Varasol afterwards. Like now.
Yeah.
Not now. Okay, we missed it, but we got his flash. And that's fine for me, because flash is going to be down for this dragon, but all these ults are going to be back up. Or this ult is going to be back up. So that's fine. That's the exact time to go for those kind of like pick plays. So Maokai no flash is big. Well, in this game, flashes haven't seemed to be all that important because everyone, I don't think they're tracking them properly either, but it would be big.
So on this wave on bot lane, basically, that's what I meant.
So we make...
Syndra feels exposed.
we make this play and then this wave on bot. Oh wait,
Next
sorry,
one.
it was the next one, yeah. So this play, this wave. Or Jace can do it. Like, it doesn't need to be Rakan, right? Jace was partway in between.
Jace could do it indeed.
Yeah, but they are full mid. But Jace could come across and we make one play on Rumble. Like, she plays it quite respectfully though. You worried about just getting Rumble ulted, or
Yeah.
it would cost you flash instantly, right? You'd have to just insta flash it, and you're 2 levels down, so you definitely lose that. But the thing for me is, like, either way, like, if we're making a play on that bot wave, then we shouldn't like, we're showing on bot while we're really high up in mid. So this again could be another good puzzle. So as soon as Leona shows there, like, why are we so far forward? And I think we just get away with it because they misplay the engage, don't they? Feels like we shouldn't be. So if I'm them, oh, they even have this ward here. And maybe they only get flashes on this wave. So Rumble's coming out of base. On this next mid wave, we would be super vulnerable. But they just hard pushed the wave before as well, so.
Oh, your guys sneaked the wave. That's good.
Yeah.
A pink ward in lane would definitely help in this poke composition.
But also, like, there's not even a wave here.
Yeah.
So why are we so far forward? If we're collecting a side wave, Rumble hasn't shown. Why are we so far forward? Either we're going to have to run towards bot lane to help Sedge. I mean, like you say, either we need to be protecting her on this wave. But as soon as we cheat this wave, like you say, like we get it while Syndra's bot lane and we don't know where Rumble is. Now we get it. Now, like, why? Now we don't need to be this far forward.
Definitely. And it's also a mistake by opponents to show on the bot side and show on mid lane. They should be hovering into top side and then look for engages as you guys are entering top side.
But also, like, if we didn't have this pink, I don't think we're standing there because we have this pink ward, personally. And if we didn't have this pink ward, we wouldn't spot Leona. Maybe I'm wrong, but it doesn't feel like because we're here before we actually see Leona. Now we see her.
Leona didn't ult? Yeah, Leona didn't ult.
No, she's saving it for next game. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it costs us kills, but this costs us flashes before Dragon, right? Like, Leona just ults Jace and he has to flash it. Like, now you just ult and Jace has to flash, otherwise he dies. But again, it's like the upside of being there when there's no wave. Maybe we can get some poke, I guess.
And that is true, yeah. And if you play it really well, you might as well bait some abilities.
Yeah, but they're all going to be back up for the dragon. Or they should be. Okay. Now I changed my mind. I think I was just assuming because they were throwing them out that they were going to come back up for dragon. Now it's actually good. And this is why it's so hard to like. This is why so much of how you play is like dependent on the level of the opponent.
Vizicsaci smurfed it with the pink ward in the bot side. It prevented the rotation from Rumble, from bot if he ever rotated, and any flank opportunity. So Rakan could then posture aggressively. I think they played it on their limits.
And actually, it's good for us because the enemy decided to use cooldowns that aren't up for Dragon.
Yeah.
And for me, the thing that I need, this is what I'm going to do for the next scrim. We're going to do team fighting and tracking cooldowns, I think. Because for me, like, we don't need to stop her basing because they already don't have Rumble and Maokai ult. If they beat us 5 ults to 3 and not having their 2 probably most crucial teamfight ults, then like something's gone horribly wrong, you know, like we just don't deserve to win. So I think walking forward to stop her basing here just doesn't matter because for me, because they fucked those cooldowns, this dragon is already ours. Or should be ours. Should be really hard for them to fight on this because we just play the next one and instead now we've got Rakan on half HP. I can't remember how we actually die here. So we do lose this fight, but I can't remember why. Oh, we just engage on full HP for some reason. When they're on full HP for some reason, sorry. And we're not ready.
How did Varus end up?
So Varus runs away from the Maokai ult.
Yeah.
I mean, this wave is going to stay where it is now.
Yeah.
So, like, we don't need to be... we definitely don't need to be here. Because this doesn't even pressure them, you know? Like, we can watch this wave. It's so weird. I know, it's so weird, isn't it? I don't know how, like... It just stays forever. We don't... So doing this... Getting this wave, literally... There was no benefit.
Varus was a little late.
And the downside was that Varus wasn't there. Yeah, so a huge downside and no benefit. So he should just come back and we should play on this mid wave. And this mid wave should be like free poke for us because they've got no ults. And this is the one that we can actually walk in like really aggressively, I think. Because they've got no Maokai ult and they've got no Rumble ult. And so the only way to engage is Leona. She has flash coming up soon, but we've still all got flashes because they just fucked the ults and it was a good pink ward, like you said.
It could be also just to think, and let's see if you agree with me. Like Rakan has no wards. Since the team is already late for this specific wave to contest, it could be a good opportunity for Rakan to base, get wards, and then contest next mid wave and get the dragon.
Yeah, in which case Varus can clear this wave top. Either works for me. I think we would come back quicker to the mid wave. And we would be able to play on it, this mid wave with the cannon. Like we can all...
For this specific one, they are already late.
Yeah, actually, yeah, they're already late because they've been pushed out. So yeah, there's no way to stop them killing it here.
And because enemy team will, if they want, they will get the position on dragon.
Yeah.
Re-entering without wards is significantly more difficult than with wards for the poke comp.
But the main thing for me, that if we can find a way to kind of do this in puzzles, it'd be interesting because...
Yeah.
The way we need to be thinking about team fights is like, oh my God, it's free now. Like, this is insane. Just like before, when Varus lost both sums, the way they need to be thinking is like, oh my God, the next fight is free because Varus got no sums. Here, this fight, we should be thinking like, they're trolling. Like, now we're so much stronger than them for Dragon. And they've not got their 2... biggest ult. So the rumbles will come back up, I'm assuming, right? Like it has to be shorter than 47 seconds. Okay, so it still actually won't be up when Dragon is up. And this is just fighting not for a wave. It's just, we think it's a pick. That's what I really don't like about it. Varus coming back to mid lane just loses a bunch of HP because he has to, because Maokai. Like, we just... If we've got poke comp, like I want us to just play with the waves. Because then this... Also, the thing that I don't like is that I think we just get really tilted that we don't like this engage, and so we just walk forward and die on Varus. I think if he thinks this engage is good, he doesn't play like this. I think he thinks the engage is bad, so he walks forward and doesn't, like, at this stage now throw shit to Corki instead. He's like, well, you wanted to go for Rumble. So I'm going to go for Rumble. Then we all die. And they get Baron and they get Soul. And then from there, Yeah, it's a protest. It's
I
a
can
it's a
definitely-
protest
I
following.
could definitely make a good puzzle out of this sequence.
Okay, awesome. So the main things for me, like as big takeaways, is like if they can come away with the idea that we should see this situation with the cooldowns like very differently, then I think that can be a really, really big one.
Mhm.
Okay. Let me look at my notes. I think that's the last thing I wrote down in the notes. So I'm gonna speed run through. Maybe it's just a 2.5 hour per game kind of setup. But I do think there's already some really useful puzzles from this. And I actually think all of them are better as puzzles than as VODs as well, which is good. Obviously, it's quicker to make a VOD, so it's up to you if it takes too long.
How would you? No, that's fine. How would you? What do you think about adding a video part where you explain the process? Where like I could also take a part of this stream and add it in the detailed puzzle explanation videos so that they have something to.
Yeah, I think that would be really good. Either we can take a part of this stream, or when you've made the puzzle, just send it to me and I'll re-record a little video explaining it. Because actually that's probably better because I want to be as succinct as possible for the video.
You want to what?
I want it to be as succinct as possible, my detailed explanation. And so the problem with this stream is we're kind of thinking about it out loud.
Yeah. Okay. Then I'll send you the links to the puzzles.
Awesome. Exciting stuff. I'm just really curious as to how it goes and like what happens. But also it's given, even just doing this one game has given me like a clear goal of what I want to work on next with the team, because this is the thing about like changing rosters, is that we had all of this come from one player, which is really rare on a team. Like timing every single summoner, but also being like really clear about cooldowns and really clear about how important they are and all that kind of thing. And so as with most teams, we're going to have to find a way to sort of share the load between everyone. And maybe, I don't know, Innaxe talks about cooldowns and Nash talks about summoners or something like that. It's going to be a bit harder, but firstly, we need to agree on how important they are.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Tritz is a smurf in that way.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Nash
can...
ARAM
practice. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I think as well, like, it's just a slightly different way of seeing the game. And so if we can get Nash thinking like that, then it'll be massive. Cool. All right. Well, I think I'll leave it there for our discussion. I'll answer some questions in the chat briefly, but other than that, we'll leave that. So
it was a pleasure.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. Yeah, it's really fun doing it with someone else as well. So I'm not just like lonely doing it.
All right. Then the next step, I will come back to you probably by tonight with some puzzles.
Cool. And, I mean, doesn't need to be tonight, by the way. Don't feel need to like super rush. The other thing that would be good to know from my point of view is if you guys can just keep track on like how long this stuff takes to create, because then we can also start to balance like, okay, how many puzzles should we do? Because I'm thinking like all these examples, I think having it as a puzzle is better than having it as a clip. But the question is, for some of them, is it better enough that it's worth the extra time, you know? Because if I made a clip, it would take like 10 minutes plus review time, or 5 minutes plus review time, you know? So if you can keep track on how long the stuff is taking to make, like how many hours it's taking you guys, like man hours between everyone, then that would be interesting. Obviously, of course, if it's useful for you to have this, start to have a big puzzle library that you can then share with other teams or whatever, then that obviously makes it a different thing. But we've made these online, so everyone should have a go at them if they want. But yeah,
there is a lot of value that we're getting from creating puzzles for your team. So for us, like I can track, but to be honest, the more puzzles we can create, the better it is for the product for Mobatrainer.
Okay.
So in that way, don't hesitate.
Okay, easy. Okay, they'll all be puzzles then.
If we are getting overwhelmed, I will
let me know. Okay. All right, sounds good.
Have a nice one, John.
All right, have a good day.
It was fun.
Yeah, see ya. Okay, now I can fully pay attention to the chat if anyone wants to ask any questions. What's the time? 4:30. I'm going to quickly go to the toilet. If you have any questions, put them in the chat. Might look at some of... Game 2 was just a complete mess. Game 3. Game 3 was a bit of a... they were all kind of messy, weren't they? I'll look at... I'll look at questions from chat, and I might quickly look at another game, but probably not. See you guys in a minute. Okay. Right. Isn't Mako disbanded? Sorry. Yeah, unfortunately. Very last minute. None of the players knew. It's a terrible situation because they've been so good for so long. But from what I at least understand, it's like a reasonable decision, but also feels kind of shit in a way. Forever, from the league side, they've been such a staple of the Italian scene for so long. How was your day? Pretty good. Just a lot of Mobatrainer stuff. Very. When I'm thinking about stuff like that, it's quite intense. No, I can't really speak. Will you improve as much that you beat LR this split, or at least get second place again? That's the hope. The hope is to try and beat Lost Returns, or at the very least give them a stronger showing in the final. Force them to 5 games would be nice. But yeah, that's the goal. But as I said, there's our first meeting together on YouTube if you want to look at that. And as I said there, we know it's an uphill struggle in terms of the situation that both teams are in. They're playing full time and they've got more resources and a bunch of advantages. So we're trying weird stuff like this, like these puzzles. We're trying a few different things to see if we can really push them. But it's going to be a fun competition throughout the split anyway. We're also not in the same groups this time, so I think if everything goes as expected, it'll end up the same as last time, because of course technically we were expected to lose to, was it Rich Gang or whoever won the other group last time, where we didn't, of course. So we'll meet them in the finals, upper bracket final, which means that we will probably, when they're back scrimming, hopefully play them a few times before then, because as I said before, they're just the best practice that we can find for a lot of reasons. Not least of which, I'll stress over and over again, is that they're just on time. And when they say 15 minutes for reviews, it takes 15 minutes. Whereas so many few other teams struggle with that. I mean, we struggle with that more than I'd like, but we're still on time most of the time. But yeah. Okay. I think fourth A, I think I'm probably actually going to call it there. I don't think I'll even go to the next VOD. Just watch the first meeting vid. Do you think it's a fair goal to beat Lost Returns? That's a good question. Depends what you mean by fair. I think it's very ambitious, given the situation. I think last split, we should have had a very good shot at doing it. but we didn't do it. And yeah, fair is strange. I mean, I guess it depends what exactly you mean by fair. It's a very ambitious goal, and I think it's something that we should have as a goal. I don't think having a goal of coming second is a good idea, because you want it to kind of push you forward, right? It's like, why would I put the extra effort in is to try and achieve my goal? Whereas I think with a roster like ours, especially if Ruddy are going to be a little bit more rookie focused, and if Verdant aren't going to be spending the money to get big players and all their players have gone elsewhere, then I think having a goal of second is not really appropriate. So you want your goal to be like pushing you forward, and it's absolutely possible. Like anyone can beat, maybe not anyone can beat anyone on the day, but we absolutely can beat them on the day. They're just much better than us. So we don't have especially right now, we wouldn't have a very good shot at all at beating them. But by the end of the split, like I say, hopefully we'll be able to give them a competitive game. Okay, so thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the first one of these like experiments. As soon as the puzzles are made, you'll hopefully be seeing them on player streams a bunch. If any of you here do watch the player streams and can clip me when they do the puzzles and send them to me, that would be perfect, because I want to hear their thinking as they go through. And I'm pretty sure, I need to check this, I'm pretty sure if you want to check out Mobatrainer for yourself, I think we have like a discount link to try it. At the moment, it's, I think, paid to do the puzzles, so I will need to check the Savour actually about that. But you can either watch the players do them, or you can even have a go at them yourself. I think all the puzzles that we get made for us will be public. You're seeing them being made anyway. I guess if you've watched these streams, you should get 100% on the puzzles. So that'll be an interesting one to keep track of. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching, and I will be on tomorrow at 14, and we'll do a watch party for EMEA Masters finally, to get into it. I have a work meeting at 5, but I'll have a few hours at least of EMEA Masters before then. So see you all tomorrow. Have a good evening.